I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Ramapo Town Board and ask our clerk, Christian Sampson, to call the roll.
Councilman Charles?
Here.
Councilman Deputy Supervisor Withers? Councilman Ullman? Here. Councilman Friedman? Here. Deputy Commissioner Hunter? Here. Supervisor St. Lawrence?
Here. I'd like to ask Councilwoman Charles to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And she's making note that Deputy Supervisor Withers is here.
Sorry, I'm late, folks.
No, you're not late. You're right on time. We have people in the public here that may, I'm sure, want to speak, so we'll start off with public participation. Mr. Dent.
Actually, he's the one I want to talk to, so I can wait until his phone call is done. All right? I'll come back.
Well, the public participation is open now. You want to wait a minute and see if he's back with his call, and
Okay.
we'll let Robert go first, Rudy.
Right,
all right? Okay.
Mr. St. Lawrence, I don't know how long he's going to be.
Okay, but-
So he's not going to.
Well, we'll come to that. Go ahead, Robert.
Robert Romanowski, 183 Maple Avenue, Muncie. On March 30th this year, I attended the annual dinner of the Rockland County Municipal Planning Federation, which was held in Congress, and very good event. And what was there, what most interesting was the keynote speaker, who was the county's Director of Fire and Emergency Services, Mr. Gordon Wren, who put on a very riveting and very informative slide presentation about the illegal housing, illegal building that doesn't conform to codes. He had a whole bunch of pictures of SROs and things like that. And a couple members of the town, Ramapo, were here, a couple from the town attorney's office, but you missed a good presentation because they left before Mr. Wren began his presentation. What I'd like to ask this board is that at future town board meeting, that you invite Gordon Wren in here to make this presentation before this town board, so this whole board can see what's happening with these illegal conversions, building code violations, improper construction that passed inspection, which shouldn't have. He had pictures of a firewall that was improperly constructed, but it passed anyway, and there happened to be a fire in that building, and it jumped the firewall, he said, like nothing. So I'd like to have this board, him come in here, make the presentation to this board. I know Supervisor St. Lawrence, this is something that you probably be interested in and would like to see. And also, if the presentation was made at a town board meeting, it could also be on television so that all the public who's watching this on Channel 32 and on 78 could see too this very informative presentation that was put on by Mr. Gordon Wren. So I would like to ask this board to, any board member I guess could do it, is to invite Gordon Wren here to do the presentation so that the town board can see it, and so that the public who comes to the meetings can see it, and so that the people who are watching on television can see this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romanowski. Mr. Dent, did you want to? It will be taped, so and so.
Rudy Dent, 8 Red Oak Lane, New Hampstead, New York. My question was for Chief Brower in reference to Incident Report 09-48245.
0948245.
Correct.
Okay.
In that particular incident report, Chief Brower had his name involved in sitting down with a complainant who filed false accusatory documents against me. Had he checked all the numerous complaints of prior incidents in my cul-de-sac, he would have found that there was an extensive case brought by me against this complainant and her husband previously. So in terms of police reports, first of all, for a chief to lend his name...
Rudy, just for 1 second. So this was after the other extensive one, so it was kind of possibly in retaliatory action. This
It
report.
was a constant attack that I had
Okay.
gone through in my cul-de-sac.
I just wanted to get
when-
the timing on that. So
Okay,
this
when-
was after the other incidents. I
Right.
gotcha,
Now,
gotcha.
I'm also a licensed real estate salesperson who has operated here in Rockland. I'm a former police officer, as you know. All right, so I tried to get in touch with the chief of police in reference to this incident because in that incident report, his name is on it as giving advice to the complainant, who is actually the perpetrator, to document all the ways in which Mr. Dent bothers her. Now, that sends a signal to the rest of the police department to bias them against me. And that is the worst. To be kind, I would call that stupidity beyond belief. But what he has shown is a biased, racist, discriminatory bias toward the people that he sucks up to. All right? And he's disgraced the police department, he's disgraced the town of Ramapo, and he's disgraced America. He took the same oath I did. And that should be looked into. Well, that's what I have to live with every day, knowing that that man is sitting in that seat, and this is the second time he pulled this phone act to get out of here. I would like to get some investigation into this and have this resolved, because this is really outrageous, and it's a disservice to the police department to have such a leader who has no integrity.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dent. Anyone else in the public like to speak? Motion to close public participation? Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor, say aye. Yes, sir.
You know, it's important, I forgot to say, unknown to him, I went to the Human Rights Division, filed a complaint, which they took, and when this perpetrator found out, along with the rest of her friends in the cul-de-sac, they came to me with their hat in their hands and begged me to release them, which I did in the spirit of starting new. I did. It brought peace for a year.
Okay.
And then after that, they started over again. And I had to physically, after I was assaulted by a lawyer from that particular group, and physically throw him off my land. And he ripped his shirt in the process, and then he tells me, now you're effed. I'm a lawyer. And I called the police. I told my wife to follow him as he took off to get his place of residence, keep a distance. She did. The police came, they went to his house, he wouldn't come to the door, and they accepted that he wasn't home, and he was. So
Okay.
This is the kind of stuff that I've had to live with.
Thank you, Mr. Dent. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Someone wants to speak. Can you reopen the traffic, something like traffic lights or something?
The public participation is closed. He can do it another time. The next item on the agenda are the acceptance of the minutes. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Our regular that was for the regular meeting of March 11th. Town Attorney, Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. We have 3 agreements for approval this morning.
One is for Zambelli Fireworks Manufacturing. We've employed them for a number of years for the fireworks display at the Celebration of Liberty and Pride, which this year is scheduled for June 29th. I believe the price is the same as last year.
Okay. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers.
I just have a question.
Mr. Ullman.
It's not directly relating to this contract, but this fireworks show that we do, is that open to all residents, or is that only to
All
town
residents.
of Ramapo residents?
All residents in the U.S. and beyond.
Thank you.
Yep. All those in favor say aye. June 28th.
So we'll just correct
All those in favor
resolution
say
to
aye.
reflect that. Yeah.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
For a number of years, we've used Rockland Conservation and Service Corps workers. The next resolution continues that practice. For this year, there'll be 2 workers at a cost of $1,600 per worker, working through the Department of Public Works.
And they'll be continuing on the stormwater work. Okay, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Last year, Blue Rill Day Camp requested that they use a portion of the parking lot by one of the town pools for a fee. We granted that last year, and they requested the same arrangement for this coming year. This has been recommended by Ms. Antosca of the Parks Department.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye.
Michelle, can we use them over at the golf course? Can we use those workers over at the golf course?
I don't know, actually, I don't know the agreement, I'm not, I believe
Well, these 2 we're using on the stormwater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
that's requested out to me, correct?
Yeah.
There's some drainage issue. All right.
No, we can add that to their assignments. Yep. There was an item, 2 items that Michelle originally put on that I took off of the Parks and Recreation, so we have Michelle here and her family, and great to see them. They're very well behaved, Michelle. The one I had taken off at the behest of other members of the town board, the rustic tennis facility work done every year by Mesa. That's what I thought this was again. So the Mesa was the big one that was $25,000 or $35,000. We're not doing that. We're doing that in-house. This, what you put on is for the Oval, which is the company that comes in, puts new clay down, measures the lines, puts it out and certifies it that it's, and the amount on this one is around 10 or 11? Okay.
And then they come in back after the season, they take everything up, all
And-
included in that one project.
And they store it, and then they take care of it, and they bring it back out. So we are having a savings there at Rustic Brook. And also, I had asked Loretta Furlong to do a cost analysis for us at the Rustic Tennis and Swim Facility, and we have been reducing our costs there, our net loss there, I should say, each year. Our net loss in 2012 was $79,000. Our net loss in 2013 was $49,000, and our net loss last year in 2014 was $43,000. So we are not going to open up the swimming pool there this year, and we will get a savings on our seasonal salary savings, which is where we've been trying to save across the board in all departments. And we hope that the upkeep of the pool, the maintenance on the pool, all of those things, and the water, and also the lifeguards. So we're going to see a nice savings there, I think, in 2015, but yet we're going to continue to work on the tennis because it's a premier tennis facility. Okay, so it's a motion for Oval Tennis to open up the facility, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. We've also had Loretta do some of these cost analysis for the Challenger Center, and we're doing the pool and the golf course next, so we'll give updates on that. I think they're coming before the Strategic Planning Committee on Tuesday morning at 11. So we're going to see what savings we can have there as well. Okay, and then also, Michelle, you had a request you do each year for petty cash at the golf course and at the swimming pools? Okay. And the summer camps. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Did you?
Supervisor, I made those 9D and E.
Okay, very good. Did you have any other, anything else, Michelle?
Probably the Babylon Brook players I submitted, they were requesting, some support for their plays that they do in the parks in the summer. They did them last summer for the first time. So I think that's under 8C. If you have any questions, I don't need to, if you don't mind. I just told them I would present this letter and this request.
What amount did we give them and where? We gave them 0 last year. And what are they requesting?
We gave them access to the parks.
Access to the parks in order to perform there.
Yes.
And that's what the request is again? It's not a,
They submitted a budget, I gave them a budget in that packet, and they're looking for anything. That's what they call it.
I see it.
So, obviously, he's looking for the whole thing, I said, that's not, we don't usually go that high, but I would bring it to more attention.
So why don't we do this, Michelle? Why don't we allow them use of the parks, and we will bring this up at the next workshop as to any. Maybe we'll have him come in and present what his request is. So what we'll do is we'll table this until the next meeting. All right? Good. Thanks, Michelle. They can stay if they want. They're so well behaved, they can stay for the rest of the meeting. They don't want to go. Okay.
The next 5 items are all tax certiorari matters. Mr. Shedler's here to discuss each of those.
Okay. Scott?
Yes, the first item is Triborough Holdings, it's a small shop.
Scott, could you come over and just sit maybe between the 2 officers there? We want to be able to see you on TV, Scott, so you have to sit, Scott, you have to turn, so the camera can see you. We want people at home to be able to. Okay.
The first item is Triborough Holdings, and it's a reduction from 2010 to 2014 with a total refund of $916.62. It's a small shopping center in Chestnut Ridge. The second item is,
And this covers how many years, Scott?
this covers 5 years.
5 years, okay.
And in the last 2 years, there's no reductions at all.
Okay, so the total reduction is $916.62.
Correct.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The next item is PA Palladino. It's a small shopping center on the Village of Spring Valley border. It covers 4 years, 2011, 2000 to 2014. Based on an appraisal, it showed a reduction with a refund amount of $1,974.10.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The next item is Keenan Lawrence Real Estate, which is a dog kennel and veterinary location on Route 202. It's a 1-year reduction for 2014 with a total refund of $295.73.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by
What, is this, the kennel on 202?
Yes,
In the hospital? and all?
yes.
For disclosure purposes, like dog Scrappy goes there, but I'll still vote for it.
He does? Does he approve? Will he be voting? All right, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
Scrappy, thank you.
The next item is Stonegate Homes, group number 6, is a settlement from 2010 through 2014. It's a number of condominium units in Bon Air. The overall reduction for the 5 years indicated a refund of $17,394.64.
And just so for people understand that we do the assessing across the town, and we assess in Suffern, and so these were for the years 2011-12, 12-13, 13-14, and 14-15. And Scott, is there any particular reason why this is so high, the refund?
just because of the number of units and the number of years involved.
Okay.
Are these individually owned, or is?
Yes, yeah, there's actually, we, on the resolution 2243, it tells you the number of the units, 13.10 through 3320. So there's a, there's a large number of units that will be impacted. That's why you will have a $17,000
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. And just before you do the next one, Scott, every year, people have the right, every taxing authority or every taxing payer has the right to grieve their taxes. We launched a major program which your office received incredible acclaim for across the country last year, where we have it set up here in the town, so any homeowner who feels that their property is overassessed, they can come in here. We have computers set up. We will help them get comps on other properties that are comparable to theirs, and we'll help them in the process of reducing their taxes, of grieving their taxes. So, Scott, last year we had sent out some information, so would it be your recommendation we send out a card to all, a postcard to all of our residents, and letting them know that this is available and they can come in and how they can do it, and it's no cost to them?
Right, I think that would be a good plan to do it this year. In addition, I'm willing to have the additional public hearings that we did at the libraries and at Town Hall, to get the public out and educate them on the whole system.
Fantastic. Because what happens is people will get in the mail, I get them at my house in the mail, saying, sign up with my company and we'll grieve your taxes for you, and then they'll take 50% or 30%, they'll take a percentage. You don't need that company. You can get the entire savings. If you have a grievance, we have a grievance board, you go before the grievance board, and we will help people to work on that and to get the information they need and to help them put it in order. And we'll have seminars at the libraries and here at the town hall, and we'll have a room set up with computers with people that can help people if they want to grieve their taxes. So people don't need to have a company do that. That will then take 50% of the savings away from the taxpayers. If you deserve a reduction, we want you to get the entire savings. So Scott, we'll work on putting a postcard together, and we'll send it out.
Very good.
Great. We voted on that last one? Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The last item is another condominium which was in litigation.
I'm sorry, Supervisor, that last one was already voted on. I thought you were talking about.
Oh, this next one. Okay, so we had an extra safety vote there.
You have a move in a second or something.
Yes. So this is this is the Commons at Bon Air.
Correct. And this originally had litigation from 2005 through 2014. The town attorney's office was able to get the prior 2 years dismissed for filing issues. So therefore, it only required reductions in 5 of the years. And this is the Commons at Bon Air. And this is the newest of the condominiums that were built in Bon Air. And the overall refund on those is only $9,050.85.
So that's for tax years 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, and 11, 12. And then for tax years 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, there's no reduction.
Correct.
So this sets it in place, and that's a refund of $9,050.85. Okay? Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
We also have a request for a retroactive tax exemption. The process here is in order for a property owner to receive a retroactive exemption, they must seek New York State legislation. The property owner at 6 Suffern Place made such a request for 2012 and 2013. The legislature will not proceed forward with the legislation until the town indicates that if the state were to approve the exemption, we would support that. So that's the subject of the next application.
Okay.
Correct. And just a note, I know a number of the council members were concerned with this. This does have a valid CO, and the village did do a letter that said the valid CO was good for all the years during the retroactive period.
Great.
Scott, did you reach out to the sister of,
St. Zita?
Did, they have an issue? I asked your office to contact them, and you said something about May 1st.
Yeah, we were waiting to see if they brought in the paperwork before May 1, and they were in the process of doing that, so
Will you just follow up again on that?
most definitely.
Should we do a retroactive do we need to do retroactive for St. Zita's if they missed their filing?
I think we're going to have to.
Yeah. Do we want to do that subject to right now? Just add it onto this, do St. Zita's subject to filing, their filing?
Or I could just go and check real quick.
Why don't you go and check real
Yeah,
quick?
why don't we do that?
We'll vote on this, you go check on it real quick, and then we'll set up a different one for St. Zita's if they, okay. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Okay. I see our head of our DPW is here, Ted Zarinko. Ted came up on the workers for the AmeriCorps workers. I know that they work on the stormwater and do a lot of the documentation and plotting where every outfall is from every stream, from every catch basin. Would we be able to add on to their assignment to do work looking at the drainage at the golf course? All right, would you work with the deputy supervisor on that to see what parameters we have so we can take a day or two during their employment to do some work there? Great. Okay, the next item is 4A. It's appointment of assistant building inspector.
Charles?
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Is Angelo around? When's he going to start? He's still...
He's effective May 2nd.
May 2nd, okay. Congratulations. All those in favor, we did that, right? Okay. We have a leave of absence request from one of our workers in the court system. This would be a leave of absence until December 1st of 2015, commencing already March 30th. And so this is, I need a mover in this. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carried unanimously. Okay, Scott.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, board members, they do not need retroactive. They just filed a late application this year, and we did review it, and they are going to file the paperwork the first week of May.
Great, so they don't need they don't need any sanction from the state legislature. They're not behind that many years, just they were late this year.
And they're going to file a grievance in May.
So they'll file the grievance and that will take care of it.
Yes.
Great, thank you, Scott. Okay, the next is a request for a grant from Keep Rockland Beautiful for $500 toward the cost of conducting the Great American Cleanup, various locations in the county, including the town of Ramapo. They did a great job in our cemetery, in the Tallman Cemetery. And Ted, you sent our guys over to pick up a huge pile that was taken out of the cemetery. It was fantastic. So this is for $500, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. The next item is purchasing. And just to be clear, this is the towing contract for towing our own vehicles, internal vehicles, whether it's police or DPW or sewer or highway, whatever needs to be towed. We have another towing list that has many, many towing companies in the town that we do on a rotating basis if there's an accident. And if the person doesn't have a AAA coming or their own tow company, then we take the next off the list and it's done by rotation. Okay, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Okay, moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Item 6A3 on the agenda is the acceptance of the bid for the purchase of screen printing and embroidered clothing. As you can see in your resolution, there are a variety of the items that we went out to bid for, and they come back with 3 options of proceeding. Fusion Graphics, Ad Tech Agency, and ST Designs for the various items as they're listed in your resolution.
Okay. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. We've done the fireworks. Oh, okay.
6A4 on the agenda is the acceptance of the technical needs for the celebration of Liberty and Pride. We're asking you to accept the proposal Dynamic Event Group in the amount of $22,500 as listed in the resolution.
And the difference was 48 for the second one, so they're the lowest bidder.
Two companies. What is it? One is the actual fireworks, one is setting it up.
Yeah. Okay, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Okay. This is 7A. Ted, do you want to talk on this a little bit? This is for the traffic signal warrant analysis on Route 59 and DeBorn Avenue, Route 59 and Bates Avenue. The one on DeBorn Avenue is particularly important because it deals with our public safety of our ambulance corps, our police cars, our town workers, and also services DeBorn Avenue, which continues across the way. So,
Do you want Ted or Tony?
Tony, did you want, well, Ted had talked to the DOT. We had met with the DOT, and so he can give us an update, and then... You can stay there, Chief. Yeah, that's good.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we spoke with the DOT. They had indicated at the intersection of DeBorn and 59 that it was going to be problematic. However, they never received a full application for the signal. The paperwork for the full application. This would be the extension of DeBorn Avenue North between 59 and Friendly's, and also full occupancy of 222, the building over there. So we got a proposal from Frederick B. Clark.
For $5,200. Is that for both of them?
No, that's for each.
For each?
5,200 each, yeah. And
The one that's on the corner of Bates, Tony, isn't that pretty close to Remsen?
Yes.
Do you think it's too close to Remsen?
I think so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? We should start with the DeBorn Avenue, I
I
think.
think we should start with DeBorn
Yeah.
Avenue.
Yeah. Yeah, let's start with the DeBorn Avenue. So you want to make a resolution just for the DeBorn Avenue, and we'll hold off on the Bates, and we'll do some more internal gathering of information.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. A motion for traffic signal warrant analysis, Route 59 and DeBorn Avenue. Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilman Ullman. Okay, the next is is that it for the purchasing? The next is the assessor to attend the New York State seminar at Cornell University, July 12th through 17th. Scott, you recommending this, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Supervisor St. Lawrence. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Authorization to conduct electrical inspections. Thank you, Chief. I'm going to let Chief say this one. Emmanuel Zervakis?
Yeah, a number
Thanks,
of-
Chief.
A number of years ago, we only had one provider for the electrical inspections. A number of other municipalities had other qualified applicants that wanted to do those services to provide competition to for our residents. So this is an additional inspection company that the building inspector has recommended be one of those that's certified and able to do those
Are
inspections.
we not in charge of fees now for those inspectors, like an annual fee? Or,
Well, this is a private company that does these.
right, but if they want the rights to do inspections in town, are we legally allowed to charge them a fee for that?
If they want to be able to do this for homeowners.
Correct.
Yeah, and you want to know if we want to add on a charge onto our homeowners?
No, onto the
Onto them.
inspectors.
Well, that would just pass it through to the homeowner,
Right,
you know?
right, just think about how they're doing. We'll talk about it.
We can look into that, but we don't charge into the others, so.
No, I wouldn't mean this specific.
Right.
I mean, in general.
Will you add that on the strategic planning as a potential revenue?
We'll see if we can require those approved inspectors to submit some type of annual
Okay.
fee to the town. Okay.
He has all the certifications, all of the county licenses and the state licenses, all of that. He's been vetted out in that respect. So this would just give our homeowners another chance to get their electrical inspection.
It gives the homeowners an additional choice of which vendor to use.
And, which is important because sometimes when you get an event such as hurricanes down there, and we had a problem in Lonergan Drive, we didn't have enough inspectors and people couldn't get their licenses or their power turned back on. So, okay, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Supervisor St. Lawrence. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. We took care of, we tabled at Babbling Brook.
9A is an executive session matter.
Okay.
The next two both relate to pending tax assessure matters with Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. We've had discussions with...
Scott, you want to come up just in case there are any questions?
We've had
Thank you.
discussions with Watchtower over their request to continue to exempt their property in Western Ramapo. The issues here are somewhat gray, and it's been my office's position, and I think Watchtower's, that if this were to be litigated, the result is very uncertain. The school district has been involved intimately in these discussions since the bulk of the taxes involved are school taxes, and as a consequence of our multiple settlement discussions, we've reached a proposed settlement which will grant them a tax exemption for last year and this year, which they've applied for, and assuming that the use does not change in the interim, the presumption is that exemption will continue for a number of years to come. We've also negotiated a separate agreement with Watchtower, again, with the school district being an active participant, by which Watchtower will enter into a community benefit agreement with the town, which will pay the town and the school district $225,000 a year for 5 years. So that's the substance of the next two resolutions.
And that community benefit, will we negotiate in it with them and with the school district there? We were able to let the Watchtower has a lawsuit requesting that the school district pay back $274,000 from last year. And so as part of this agreement, the school district will not have to refund that money to Watchtower, the school district will be able to keep that $274,000 on top of the $225,000 or $50,000 that we came up with. Yes.
Question, did the school district actually vote on it?
Not yet.
Do we have in writing from them that they're in agreement with it?
We have representation from their counsel that he was authorized to negotiate the agreement, and he's supportive of it. So whatever we do will be subject to the school district.
And
being
the
informed.
second thing is, I mean, it's an empty lot now, correct?
It's, yes, it's vacant land. It was improved with some roadways, and it's being used, according to Watchtower, as a spiritual meditation area.
This was a property that was approved. This is called Lauderdam. It was approved for housing on this, and then Watchtower purchased it. They still have we still are charging them for each lot that was there. It was over 200 some lots for the taxes. They filed that they were totally tax exempt, They have a meditative walkway that goes through the property, where we can say meditation stops at the edge of that walkway, or with further, 200 feet off that pathway, is something that a court would decide. Through all of our experts and all of our information, this was in the best interest of the school district and the taxpayers. Okay. So 9B, moved by? Seconded by Supervisor St. Lawrence. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. On 9C, moved by? Seconded by Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Supervisor, I think in the back row is Mr. Salkin. He's a Wesley Hills resident who's contacted the town regarding some bins that he and his neighbors in the village have complained with regard to clothing bins.
I absolutely agree with Mr. Salkin, and I certainly will let him come up, even though it's public participation is over, because it's a specific issue. I live in Wesley Hills, and I drive by, and it was to my disbelief when I saw the clothing, red clothing drop-off area pop up right in the middle of Willow Tree Park. Since then, they've popped up in Spook Rock, Pool, and some other areas. These were, I think, put up by the volunteer fire departments. We do have some locations where it is legal to do that, according to the state controller, but it is not appropriate, nor is it legal to have them in Willow Tree Park or at Spook Rock Pool or some of the other parks. So we are going to have those removed. So I just wanted to lay that groundwork, Mr. Salkin, before you. But you certainly can come up if you want and address us. But I was surprised by it when I saw it, and it's not the appropriate place. As a matter of fact, we just did some work over that park, repaving it, and we're still trying to get a handle on the Canada geese population there. But the fire department. Yeah. So we have such places as the park and ride at Reisman, where we have a lot there where they're set off the road, which is probably an appropriate spot, which I think we could leave those there. But the controller certainly says that you're not allowed to put these in public areas anyway, unless they're areas that aren't being used and that they're leased. So, Mr. Salkin, we will have that removed from Willow Tree Park, also from Spook Rock, and the other locations where they popped up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If there's anything else you'd like to say, we'll do it on the most timely basis as possible, too. All right?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And did we have any other business items?
I think other than the executive session item, that concludes
Can
the
we just go
regular.
back to this topic? Can we make a local law or something that they have to be designated spots approved by the board? Because this seems to be popping up. It's the second time this has become to our attention with these so-called, they have to be approved by the Attorney General's office, they have to be licensed by the Attorney General's office. And if they have their proper license, they should go through the town attorney's office to approve it first before they.
And any location, I agree.
Any location is, I mean, we got people just taking it on their own to do what they want.
Well, we control, again, unincorporated Ramapo and then our parks wherever they are. So we've had issues most recently with some of our parks locations. I don't know where else we've had them, but we could discuss whether a local law or some other policy governing them would.
Let's do that for our May 11th meeting. Let's put on the agenda a local law that will set some parameters so we don't have to coming back to this like Groundhog's Day, just coming back and having these things happen. Okay. Chief, we'll throw it over to you, and when you want to go into executive session, we'll go into executive session, okay? So we have a couple items for executive session as well.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and I apologize that I was called out of the meeting. As customarily, we start with our statistics, and we have our statistics from March of 14. We'll compare them to March of 15. And also you have a second document for the first quarter of 14, and we'll compare them to the first quarter of 15. So doing the first one, March 14th to March 15th, there is really no appreciable differences other than when you come down to the second category of accidents, we had probably almost 90 or so more accidents this March as we compared to last March. I cannot give you any definitive reason why. Perhaps it was weather-related. The good thing is there was no fatalities. Certainly there was almost double the amount of injuries, and we'll be working on trying to locate any accident-prone locations, and we will apply our police officers appropriately. The next area, we jump over the third category, go down to crimes. We have assaults almost doubled, burglaries just about in half or so. Larcenies are down by about a third. So basically, that's pretty much self-explanatory. Our uniform tickets are down. They're down almost about 200. The board may be aware we lost one of our traffic safety officers. Officer Joe Hannes retired, and he certainly contributed to that endeavor. The school buses are pretty much the same. Cell phones are down a little bit.
You know, I can't have you mention Officer Hannes without mentioning what an incredible service he performed for this town, Chief.
Yes, thank you.
And during his career, he was in a terrible accident and lost his foot and was out for a while, but this town board, we kept him on as a police officer, and he went through rehabilitation, got his prosthetic foot, and came back to work.
He did.
And it was just absolutely fantastic to have such a dedication to the police department. So I've personally told him this, and I know other board members have as well, and I know you have, Chief, and the rest of the brass, that he is a great example of our police department.
Thank you for that, and he certainly appreciates the benevolence of the board as well as the PBA. We want to discuss the first quarter of last year as it applies to the first quarter of this year. Again, there's no real appreciable difference, although I come down to the burglaries, they're down about a third, and our larcenies are down probably maybe about a quarter or so. So that's a good trend. Sex crimes doubled. I cannot explain why on that issue. The uniform tickets are down about 500. Once again, we talked about the absence of that Officer Hannes. School buses remain the same, and cell phones are down very little. So if there's any discussion on those statistics, I'll be glad to respond. If not, we can move on to the community events. Okay, we'll go right.
Yep.
We attended probably about 20 or so community events since our last meeting. I think we discussed at the last meeting our initiative about doing some training for all our first responders. And I have to tell you that Lieutenant Lancier is the spearhead on this. He's done an excellent job. It is well received by all our fire officers and all our ambulance folks.
So it's a whole training on to what the safety at the scene, protection at the scene, and anything that could take place, correct, Chief?
Right. It's a twofold drill. The first is a PowerPoint presentation at the firehouse, lessons learned from Columbine up to Newtown, Connecticut. And certainly we talk about, especially to our firefighters, what happens in Webster, New York. There was a fire call up there at the end of the incident. There was 2 dead firemen, 2 injured firemen, because there was a planned ambush. So we talk about that. We talk about situational awareness, and that's all discussed in the PowerPoint. And then the second day, we usually go to a school and talk about our active shooting training and how they can help us and how we can help them and what they can use for cover, what they can use for concealment, and things of that nature. And once again, it's very well received. We've probably done the whole western side of the town. We did Sloatsburg, Hillburn, Brown-Po Valley Ambulance. Just coincidentally, we're migrating to the eastern part. We'll be doing a lot more training in May. Hopefully by the end of May, we should get all our first responders trained on it. And then we're going to try to get a little ambitious, and perhaps maybe early next year, we'll have the firemen and the ambulance work together, because we have them now separated, just so we teach each responder something that may apply to them. Although when we teach our firemen, we have Officer Lehman, who used to be a paramedic. He teaches them a little bit about applying tourniquets so that these firemen could be very easily trapped in a building. It could slice a limb, and we talk to them a little bit about how they could perhaps save their limb and or their life. So it's very well received.
You know, Chief, Deputy Supervisor Withers and I attended one, not of this, but another one of your active shooter training at the Pomona Middle School. And I know you had other police forces that you were training, and it was just incredible, the real feel of it and the actual training. And just so people understand, any time that there's a shooter now in a school, it is not to mobilize, but it is to immediately go in and to take out the person that is causing that. The first person on the scene then goes right in.
You're so right, Mr. Supervisor. In Columbine, it taught us about waiting until we have all the assets in place. And today, whoever's first at the scene will go in and try to eliminate the threat.
And as a matter of fact, that's what happened in Newtown. The first officer on the scene went in, and because of that action, the shooter shot himself. Yep.
Exactly right. I will probably go a little bit more in depth in the executive session, but I think as a relationship that has developed with our first responders, Sloatsburg Ambulance Corps is going to probably donate an ambulance for us. And I'll tell you a little bit more in the executive session on that one. One of the other events, we went to the American Legion Law Enforcement. That's normally down at Fred Eller Legion. However, they changed the venue. It's over at the American Legion Hall in New City. And we recognize the officers, the detectives that worked on the Lacey Spears case. And they were well received. It was probably one of the highest honors that were given at the law enforcement night. And we also honored Michael Anton for a life-saving event. He saved a 98-year-old woman's life. There was a fire at the home. She was immobilized as well as semi-conscious. He pulled her out, and we believe he certainly contributed to her, to saving her life. And then lastly is that, as a matter of fact, it was last night, I attended the first annual Badges and Books All-Star Basketball game, and I have to give credit to Councilwoman Rendell Charles. As a matter of fact, I've been to several of these sponsored, and I think that if she ever wants to be an event planner, I think she will be very successful. Okay? It was well attended. I felt a little negligent. I didn't offer the use of a canine. They had a halftime activity and they had some entertainment. But Mr. Supervisor, I think if we have a canine demonstration there, I think it will go a long way to increase our relationship with the youth. And also, I think it will help with your initiative about diversity in the Town of Round Park Police Department. So that was my fault, and I will work with the Councilwoman to see if we could get him on board if we have another game. Okay?
Fantastic.
I didn't play, but certainly was tired at the end of the evening. Okay? Any questions on any of those things?
Nope.
Okay. Then we go down to number 2, authorize 5 officers to attend the State Law Enforcement Traffic Safety Conference. We do that every year around this time. It's going to be a total of $200. $200 each, going to be $800. And we'll send 4 of our officers. Captain Wydell is going to go up there. He's going to go up there on a mission to try to retrieve any grants that are available. And I think that with his ability, I think we may receive some, at least we'll get some attention on the need for grants for our safety initiatives.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Next one, item 3, we'd like to send Officer Magaletta to the Advanced SRO Training Course. It was last meeting that we sent three of the other officers to out of state for this type of training. Unfortunately, she was unavailable to go. It conflicted with other issues that she had. So I'd like to send her to this training. It's $1,395. It will be in Rhode Island. She'll be able to drive there. I have to tell you that I've been to several graduations. As you know, she's been our dare officer for about 2 years now. She had big shoes to fill with Chris Doldrew, who followed Keith Schwartz. So I think we are promoting our DARE program very effectively, and she certainly is doing a great job in that. I talked to the principal, the teachers, and you can tell that the children really receive her very well, and I think they're getting the message. So I would encourage the board to be able to send her to this training for $1,395.
Moved by? Moved by Councilman Friedman, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. The tuition reimbursement, we are going to take table to our next meeting on May 11th. Council?
Yeah, Ms. Finkelstein, my office is negotiating an MOU regarding the tuition reimbursements with the union attorney, and she suggested that we put this over until she and Mr. Morrow are able to finalize that.
Fantastic. Okay, Chief?
Okay, the board's been, we've discussed the senior scams that we go with the district attorney around to our various senior citizens. As you know, we have about 20 clubs in the town, very well received. There's a little delay, though. As a matter of fact, it was his board's credit that talked about having that pamphlet translated in French Creole, Yiddish, and Spanish. So I suggested that we would do that. Matter of fact, we've asked the Brownpoe Central High School to do that as a project, and it's progressing, but not as quick as I would like to. And also with the Yiddish, we had our liaison, Shirley Kahan. I think he was going to take the spearhead on that, and he has suggested he's getting near the end of the track. So
Great.
Hopefully we'll get that. When we get that, we'll distribute it in appropriate places throughout the town. Next, just want to, I know the board's aware of this, but this is National Dispatchers Week. We have about 16 to 17 dispatchers over there. Probably the junior person might be having 8 or 9 years on a job. Some of them are over 20 years. They certainly do a great job for us, and perhaps we can recognize them in some way. I don't know.
They save lives, Chief.
They certainly
Yeah.
do. They're a very dedicated group, and sometimes perhaps a little neglected. We ought to do a little bit more, give them a little bit more attention and recognition. They certainly deserve it.
You know, Chief, they are the first voice that someone hears when they call 911 and they have a need, and then they dispatch that call to the right people to help the whoever is calling. So, and we've had numerous dispatchers who have actually talked people out of suicide or talked people down. Remember from not the Jackie Jones, but from the tower over here, we had someone who was up in the tower and was going to jump, and we had a young dispatcher. She did a great job. So will we incorporate them into our police recognition night
do that, sure.
and
Yes.
take care of that?
Very good.
All right.
And then lastly, I'd like to ask Captain Wydell to just give you a little briefing. You were very generous to continue our intern program. We put a cap on it. Since that cap, I think that we've had some other issues, and I'll ask the captain to explain what they are. Would you do that?
Would you just pass the mic down so people at home can hear Captain Wydell?
I don't know how far they go.
You got plenty, yeah. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. What we would like to do is increase the amount of hours for our interns this particular cycle, because we anticipate the need to undertake a massive administrative project in the department, and I think they would be the perfect fit to do a lot of the work. I've discussed the matter with Lieutenant Colbath and Sergeant Giordina. They concur that it would be helpful to the department, and because the previous authorization was what it was, we would like the board to consider increasing it this one cycle so that we can engage in this project.
How much would it be?
We want to go from, they're currently authorized by the board for 15 hours a week. We want to go to 20 hours a week for the duration of the 7-week program.
Okay, do you need to add any more weeks on now? Do you think that's, or
Not-
you,
No, Mr. Supervisor, not weeks, but additional funding, approximately $3,000 in that range.
Okay.
Shouldn't exceed that.
so we'll go for a motion to increase the hours from 15 to 20 and additional funding not to exceed $5,000.
That would be plenty.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Well, how many, Captain, how many kids and where are they from in the program?
Right now, they're going through the process of doing interviews and some background work on them. I know they get help from Ms. Hunter on this project as well. The actual selections have not been made yet. The people that are being considered for the program are residents of the town of Arapahoe from throughout the town. So, and we're hoping to get 8, I believe is the number.
Did you want to say anything, Fran?
We only had one session of interviews, and we're having the second one tomorrow. We've only had one session of interviews, and we're going to have the second one tomorrow. We interviewed 6 young people. They were all excellent. And I don't know what the final number is as to how many we can have, but I'd like to think we might need at least 7, but we won't know for sure until we interview the second group. They're all been very interesting people. They've had recommendations that we will probably look at when we do make the final decision. Sitting in on the interviews was Sergeant Edwards, as well as Sergeant Giardina, and of course Lieutenant Colbat and myself.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Ms. Hunter.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. Yes.
Mr. Supervisor, Town Board, that's all I have, but I do have several items I would like to discuss during executive session, if that's possible.
All right, so a motion to go into executive session by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. We're going into executive session for some police matters and also for one item that was on litigation on the town portion. I want to thank everybody, and we'll now go into, we are in executive session. Supervisor Withers, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. I think we've covered everything except for the item 9A, which is the New York State Public Officers Law. Moved by Withers, second by Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. 4-1. And we also want... And we also have two people in the town that we want to close the meeting for, and that is
Duranor and Jean Ebilliard.
And he has just turned 108 on February 28th, and his wife will be turning 105 in May, and they've been married for 82 years, and we had a celebration for him last Friday. So we're going to close this meeting in their honor and send them a certificate to that fact. Motion to adjourn? Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. We're adjourned.